faggots. And the sword here.
Mixed faggotry.
I like my mixed nuts faggotry. What?
Sorting queers and mixed stereotypes.
I was
You
gonna say
couldn't
is,
tell by our faces. We're all dead. Welcome,
Yeah.
welcome to the death stream. No,
I deliberately painted myself pale because of the topic we're going to have later on, but we're obviously going to start by talking about politics a little bit because, everything's fucking insane right now.
Yeah, I think we need to vent a little bit and blow off some steam. Today's topic is the book club of the book we never told you that we were reading because we're dumb, and I realized that we were supposed to tell people before we read a book so they could read the book with us, but we suck and we forgot to do that. So we all read this cool book called Consorting with Spirits by Jason Miller, and we're going to be talking about that today in a little bit after we get through some personal
in our defense
updates.
First off, the reason this book happened the way it did is because sometimes it can be difficult and we can be pressed for time for reading stuff, and a lot of us had already finished this book or were partially way through it or were utilizing it, so it was a really low-hanging fruit that you didn't want to go what's the word for rotten. But also,
exactly.
I'm sorry, and I really want to do the Passport to Magonia episode as soon as we can get that one done, because that's what we said we were going to do.
I do want to do it. I do.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely do.
Scott, you were talking about I hit the
Yeah, I'm actually surprised I remember what I was going to say.
Good, thank God. Okay, go.
So what I was going to say was that, we talk a lot about how here in the States, people have become sort of desensitized. That was the word I was looking for. I don't really think it's a desensitized situation. It's a numb situation. And what I know from therapy about emotional numbness, we often think that emotional numbness is the absence of feeling. The thing is that that's impossible, really, unless you experiencing catatonia. But and even then, catatonia is probably more like overwhelmed to, the 2,000 bajillionth degree, right? Numbness is the onset of many feelings all at once. It is you are experiencing a whirlwind of feelings that it what happens is the brain has to defend itself, right? And it has to be I cannot as one person process everything happening right now, not in my personal life, in the world, in my home country, in my town, on my street, right? All of this, we experience life in that way, right? In layers and multitudes, and it goes out and out and out and out and out. And I think that I'm very numb, but not in the sense of not paying attention, but in the sense of I can't look away.
If I may, I have a useful analog for that that's medical, but please go ahead and finish your thought train first.
No. It's funny because I don't feel as if I'm not doing nothing. I'm preparing pretty potent war magic. I'm not going to talk about what I'm doing because I have people that work against me all the time because as we know on here. But without sharing too much, I'm working on some war magic. I was really disappointed a little bit in myself because Friday was the Philly protest, which Rue, you were really kind to send me the flyer for, but unfortunately I think it was the day later, I had a really intense therapy session, and my therapist induced sort of a switch in order to do what I have to do in therapy. But unfortunately, with that comes dissociative amnesia. So I completely forgot all about it. By the time I remembered that it was the protest, it was 9:30 at night, and I'm watching clips of thousands of Philadelphians, go Philadelphia, I love you, turn out for this ice out protest, which was great. I'm really proud of Philly for how big that turnout was. That was good. Yeah, I think that we're incredibly numb. I think that we're overwhelmed, and it's not because we don't care. It's not because we're disassociating away from it. It's I think we're we're forced to watch it happen. You know, I've watched I think I've watched this gentleman die more times than I've watched Renee die, just because of the videos. This one was so, I don't know what it was about this video. I think it's because you couldn't see Renee, like you could see her get shot, but from the car. You know what I mean? Like you're like
There's also only two videos of Renee Good. There's four separate angles that were captured of the shooting of I can't
pretty
remember. JP. Yeah,
Alex
JP.
Pretty, Alex Pretty.
Alex Pretty. JP. Yeah, Alex Pretty. Ah, there's four separate angles of that shooting. There's from the bakery shop. There's from a car driving through traffic. There's a person standing behind that car that drives through traffic, where you'll see it drive through frame, and you'll also see the lady in pink who is visible from the like donut shop perspective. And one of the most clear ones that shows that he was like backing up and actually complying, contrary to what they were saying, is the traffic shot. Because you can see clearly he still has his gun holstered in his back pocket and his hands are up forward, holding his cell phone like this, showing that they're up and he's not reaching for anything. And he's like trying to comply by walking backwards as they're indicating him. But they pepper spray and try to help the lady up, and they push him to the ground and then take his gun and then execute him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I watched it. I mean, I try not to watch it too much. I was saying to my friend Christian, I was saying that I can handle like kind of going from him alive to him dead, but seeing everything else in the middle is a bit much for me.
Yeah.
Right now. But I have
Yeah.
seen it. You know, I like it comes up, and I you know, I obviously I wanna like I kind of feel I don't want to avoid it too much because I kind of feel I need to like we need to be we've talked about this before about how I feel like a part of the job of the mystical nature of what we do anyway is also to witness these things, right? There's a certain level of um sacred witnessing. It's been, you know, we've been doing this for centuries. There's been like one of the oldest jobs was to cry loudly at funerals, right? You would mourn and cry loudly, and it's in many cultures. Italians did it, Jewish people did it, ancient Romans I know also did it. um so yeah, I think in some way there's a level of like I have to witness it. I feel like I'm holding space and honoring him
Mhm.
by witnessing his bravery and his execution. Um,
So, if I
hmm.
may jump back to the numbness
Yeah,
topic
please,
before I
please.
leave
Mhm.
that, it's actually a biological response to trauma that you can see in a physiological response as well. So, if you take a really deep injury, like I've had a saw blade cut my hand, for example, you can feel like, for me, personally, I felt the vibrations of the saw blade passing through my thumb. I did not feel pain, right? That's what numbness is. It's such an overwhelm that your body has to stop
Mhm.
and cut it off temporarily. And that pain comes later, and oh my God, does it fucking hurt. But that's what it means to be numbed out. And if it's psychological and it's more deep, it can take a lot longer for that pain response to actually kick in because you don't actually know when you're safe, right? It's not the same
Mhm.
thing as a biological wound, where as soon as the shock wears off to prevent the initial injury, it needs to give you the pain indicator so that you know to treat it, or you have like a potential life threatening issue, right?
Mhm.
It's entirely different the way that your brain processes it, because it needs to know that you're safe, so you can't even grieve this properly until it's done. You won't even be able to, right? So you're not going
Mhm.
to feel normal for a while. You're going to feel numb. That is a biological protection because we're all in survival mode right now. And even Canada's in survival mode right now. Like, with how much he's been threatening Canada, like to the Mark Carney speech, then Trump directly threatened him again. And then he said that Canada cannot be allowed to have this trade deal with China because China's going to take Canada over. And then he's like freaked out this morning again and said, if this trade deal goes through, China is going to take Canada over and I will not allow it. So now he's like basically threatening pretext to invade Canada over making a fucking deal with China over electric cars.
Mhm.
There's been
It,
some. some information that's come to light recently, and unfortunately, I don't remember all of it, so I can't give you sources on it. But I did hear it from reliable sources. I actually think one of them was Aaron Parnas. But there is an official, I think, in Minneapolis, who was talking about this, and he was saying how. In conversations and other things, it's come to light that this is an attempt to essentially rig the election because they know, given the way that our elections have been going recently, that come the primaries, midterms, whatever, they're going to lose, and in a
And
pretty
they
big
can
way.
even lose their Senate at this point because of how many resignations and stuff have happened. Like, there's been so many flips on it that if they don't absolutely steal this election and lock it down, they know they're going to get tried and impeached. And they've been actually introduced articles to impeach people like I think it was Pam Bondi or no, it wasn't Pam Bondi. It was Christine
No,
Nome. She's getting
no.
impeached right now. Yeah,
Fucking Christy Nome.
yeah.
Right, it's like if he's
Should.
untouchable, if the
Nazi
president's
Barbie.
untouchable, then try and impeach the people below him. The pillars
Mhm.
supporting him.
And that's why. So it's funny, Sophia. We were actually speaking of bridging the gap between us. We had a very serious conversation because it may come to the fact that I'm not allowed to vote anymore unless I change my birth certificate to reflect Gregory, because I changed all my documents to say Gregory when I got married, and they're going to pass that law. Now, suppose they've introduced it to be passed, the law that if your name differs from the name that you were given at birth, you can't vote. So literally in this case, and also they've threatened before married women, which I am a married woman, they would give my bank access. Basically my funds would become my husband's funds. In either of these instances, we have basically come to the conclusion that we're going to have to pack up we're going to have to pack up Samantha, and we're going to have to drive to Canada and we're going to have to seek asylum, because it has reached the point down here where we really can't function.
So
Um,
two big advantages, and I'll say this right now for anybody. And yes, I put on my stuff to make me look more like a ghost. For anybody who wants to flee to Canada, the time is like right now. The time is actually like last week or a month ago. We're taking asylum people right now. You might have to leave your life shit behind temporarily, like lock your house and take what you can, put stuff in storage. But like your lives are essentially on the line. And the advantage is that Canada is in control of who comes into Canada's side on the border. We haven't had any skirmishes yet, and I have not heard of any ICE crackdowns for people fleeing the country yet. That has not occurred as far as I'm aware. And because I think they kind of want people who they don't want here out. And it's like,
exactly.
as they view it, it's natural self selection. So while they still have that stance, I cannot implore you enough to take the fucking exit if you can. I know not everybody can, and that's understandable, and I support you, whatever you choose. But if you at all have the possibility, you need to do it as soon as humanly fucking possible, because it is going to pop off within the next 2 days. Like, I read a thing today saying that National Guard are authorized to arrest ICE. You know how fucking short of a time frame that fuse has until it kicks off?
So they do have the authority
We all
to
know.
arrest ICE?
That's what I read. I don't know how accurate that is. That is something that came up on YouTube. I can neither confirm nor deny the accuracy or validity of that statement, nor do I have source to go with it. So take it as a nod,
Great
not as
assault.
a fact. It's
Yeah.
not
No,
like
but there's
I can prove to
I
you,
was
but it is something to be aware of that could
Mhm.
potentially be true.
Yeah.
your mother
What?
just tried to video call me.
I don't know.
Your mother just
Because she wants to
tried
be like, show me
to
the
video.
snow. Show me the snow. I'm in Florida. Show me the snow. Oh, you're dealing with snow? That sucks for you. Show me this. Show her the fucking snow later.
Like from her email. I'm like staring at my phone like a demon's trying to come out of it. Like,
just my mother. Don't worry.
Is there much of a difference there, though?
Ew.
If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck.
Be right back, everyone. Keep
Speaking of
talking.
which, Nazis.
oh my
One of my
gosh.
friends One of my friends had such a good essay thing he wrote me this morning that he's thinking about putting up, and I kind of want to read it, but I didn't get his permission.
Mm.
But the long and short of it is that we need a word to describe what's happening right now, because fascism really doesn't go far enough. And the word that he came up with is inversionism. It's like the outright denial of truth, the outright right, like taking any step that you can to invert reality, and it doesn't care about being right or wrong. It just cares about introducing enough doubt so that you can't trust anything. It's like so fucking banger on point of a like post this guy wrote.
I feel like that's pretty accurate because it's just I. It seems like on internet discourse, it may seem like Trumpers are like the majority of the people out there, but I really don't think they are. I really think the majority of people who are anti everything that he's doing. I think the reason I don't know if our last election was rigged, I can't say for sure, but
It was.
there may have been some maybe some states in particular. I don't know. I don't know if the whole thing was rigged.
Especially ours. Especially ours.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing is that our lovely
I think a lot of people just didn't
senator,
vote, and that hurt too.
A lot of people no, the turnout was definitely lower. It was 100%, as we all know the numbers. 20 million people just decided not to show up. But also, what's it called? Our own senator. Let me give a shout out. Let me give a fuck you to our Senator Dave McCormick.
Oh,
no, not well. Yeah, also Fetterbaga. Fetterbaga, he's a little bit more. He's like, I feel for the deaths of Good and Alex.
Do you?
But exactly. Meanwhile, our senator, our other like our federal senator Dave McCormick, basically said, "Roll over and take it, pussies," because the federal government has the say, and I honor our president, and there's nothing that we're going to do about ICE in Pennsylvania. And I was like, well, alrighty then. So that's my go ahead to just because my senatoring.
Just come to Canada for now. It will be safer for you. And yes, I did put on the veil to make me look more ethereal and light.
Oh, it's super cute. I love it. No, that was just our little. I want to give a quick while we're waiting for Scott to come back. I want to give a huge shout out to everyone that's in the chat. Chris, Rat, Brian, and V are all in the chat. We've been having a fantastic time. And it's I know I'm one of the 5, but those are the other 4. So seriously, thanks for spending your snowy day with us, guys. Because damn, it's wild out here.
If I can, I want to do more costumes for episodes because this is fun dressing all ghostly Ghost Bride here.
Hell yeah.
Chris
is digging the look. Yeah. Sorry.
Ooh,
I got you.
That's good to know that it pops up in real time like that for each of us. Good to know we're not on that much of a delay with chat.
I'm just on YouTube on my personal account. That's why. That's why it shows me as a viewer.
Where the fuck did they put my
I know I could go through the studio, but I noticed that the studio, like when you go through like your chat, it's actually slower than just being in the chat.
No, that's what I was actually impressed with Streamlabs because I saw it at the exact same time. Yeah, through Streamlabs.
Gotcha.
Impressed.
Yeah, that is good. Shout out to the brand new laptop also, thanks to Mommy Show. Seriously, this thing is
now.
We're mobile now, bitches.
I can technically record.
Scott, look, I got my full ghost outfit on with the veil and the bridal thing.
You do. You look
seriously,
like
love you, Rat.
Ghost floating through the cold.
Well,
white woman herself.
Right. So speaking of, well, Sophia's all geared up now, so I guess it's a good time to transition over into our actual topic for today. Consorting with Spirits.
Excellent,
Jason
Scott.
Miller. Thank you, Scott, for showing it.
Mm-hmm.
If you are in the Discord, there is a channel called Book Club. In there, I posted the direct link to the publisher. I figured that was the most neutral link. I didn't want to like just give you the Amazon link or the Goodreads link, which is basically an Amazon link. And so
No,
that's
you
the
should link to the
publisher.
publisher. That's
And then you can
that's what
purchase
you
it
should.
wherever you purchase it.
You can find if you want to go to your local Barnes and Nobles and find it there. You are more than welcome to, but we're not allowed to endorse anything.
I just
And if I
it's all
may,
evil.
it's one
So,
of well, I
capitalism
mean,
is
we can
evil.
technically endorse anything, but it's not like we're like showing their likeness, right? That's different. Actually, even then, we're not like a major studio, and they can't really sue us the same way. Like, it's got different liability as an independent production. But
It was more
neither
like
here
I
nor
just
there.
didn't like when like with books, everyone's like, "Oh, the Goodreads link," and I'm like, "But that's owned by Amazon, and that sucks." So-
Yes.
Yeah.
So
What I would
I just
actually like
linked
to
it to
say
the
about the
publisher.
books first, really quick, is that it's also got an exceptionally good audiobook version of it. And what I do when I pick a book to suggest to everybody else for book club, because basically how it works is I read an epic fuck ton, and I always have books on either the back burner that I know are really good that I'm reading, or I have a book that I've been through that I suggest, or like there's books that we're interested in, and I'll suggest that to everybody. And everybody chimes in, and somebody might be like, "Ooh, I've actually read that book already. It's really good." And some people might be like, "Yeah, I haven't," and I'm partway through it. And like that's pretty much like a shoe in then if like other people have already read a book that somebody suggests.
Mm-hmm.
But we start by looking at audiobooks first. So if it's ever going to be a book club book, there's either going to be an audiobook version available of it that we're going to be able to link you through Audible, or you're going to be able to find a version on YouTube with a channel such as Master Key Society, for example, who will read mystical texts like, I don't know, the Corpus Hermeticum and Asclepius. I'm not sure if he did that one, but that's just an example of a mystical text. So
Wow, so people
there will
have
always
done
be versions
audio
of these books.
recordings of those old grimoires.
Yes, because a lot of classical grimoires don't have licensing to get done through
Well, yeah, it's
like
public
publishers.
domain.
What a lot of passion people like Master Key Society, who are good orators, will do is they will like literally read the book fucking start to finish. And Master Key is so good, he like reads it continually, and you can hear him flip the fucking page, but
Oh,
it's not
satisfying.
obnoxious. It's like a good ASMR like page
Mm.
flip, like fuck yeah, baby, get that page flip. Like it's good listening to Master Key. I cannot recommend that YouTuber enough. And we're not affiliated. I just have watched a lot of his fucking content, so give him a look.
I
Anyways,
totally get that feeling. I love the sound of typing. Always love the sound of typing or like writing on paper.
that's an autism indicator right there. You want the
Yeah.
clicky clack word that glows. Like
Also,
if you have
like
a
the
clicky
sound of
clack
like heels walking on the
glows, you're
floor, the
autistic.
click clack of heels. I always like that sound, or like boots or heels.
Don't
or
even get me
something.
started. I am a heels slut. Let me show you the heels to go with this outfit. Hold the fuck up. Yes, I'm already that much of an extra bitch.
Well, you gotta
Hold
have the
on.
right shoe, right, to go with the look.
Duh.
You have to. Like, okay, so as a high femme girly, I have no less than probably 20 pairs of shoes at any given time.
The way you said
Oh, here
high
they are.
femme, it just made me think of this like council of highly feminine women that just
Well,
like
it's that,
exists
yeah.
somewhere
We're
in the
highly
world, and they're
feminine.
like, yes,
We're highly feminine, and we have the council of the high femmes, but we also
Yes.
are high femme.
right,
Exactly.
yeah.
High femme. Exactly.
So, behold the pleaser
Those are
white boots.
yeah.
Oh, I
Beautiful.
love these because they're so
Yeah.
tight that they actually give you ankle support. And normally that type of a heel is a neck breaker, but this thing locks your fucking ankle in so solid you don't roll them the same way. I'm telling you, I can stripper fucking dance in these and like get down to a crouch and do like movements, and they're like, then you get up and it's like bam, and it's like wow, okay, these are fucking good. So like, oh girl, if you want a page to get these, shoefreaks.ca. If you're in Canada, there's free shipping if you're over $100. Sorry, US, but also their sales are good, and your dollar translates stronger by about an extra 25%. So basically, free shipping anyways.
Damn, we should be getting
They're
paid for
good
that
to
one.
know.
Should be an ad.
I really should be in that. Yeah.
That is my next. We can talk about podcast housekeeping things kind of like after we record, because I sometimes
we'll do
hate
that at like the
getting
last
into
bit of
that
the
while we're
episode.
recording. But we are talking about consorting with spirits. So who wants to start us off with this book?
Scott, because they've got the book physically in front of them.
Scott was voluntold to start us
Okay.
off with the book.
Okay. Gather my thoughts. Okay.
First, fangirl about Jason Miller. Go.
I think that we could definitely do that. So, I definitely think that everyone, regardless of tradition, should be listening to Jason Miller. I think that he is incredibly experienced. I think that he is really grounded as a practitioner. And I think that his stuff, all of his works, whether it's this or what is that? The one that I really like, Secrets of Sorcery or something like that. I forget what it's called, and of course, Protection.
Sorcerer's Secrets, and it's also the one that I'm most critical of. But we can talk about that one in just a second. Anyways, please continue. It's Sorcerer's Secret.
Sorcerer's Secret. And there is Protection and Reversal Magic, which is, of course, a classic that belongs on the shelf of everyone everywhere who practices magic. This book, particularly, is also belongs on every practitioner shelf who takes seriously the spirit working. Who is animist in nature or whatever, however you might see that. But as an animist practitioner
Even if you're
myself,
just spirit model or believe in spirits, you know.
Yeah, in general, exactly. I think that this was this belongs on your shelf. It teaches you etiquette. It teaches you how to move through how do I put this? How to live with, in a lot of ways, with spirits. And I think that it's really well written.
For me, it was funny reading this book because I felt like I was reading a book that I wrote. And I'm not saying like I'm this amazing writer, you know, like whatever. But like it was he writes in a very similar style to how I would write something. So it was and also the fact that his name's Jason, it just made me giggle. Like at that whole kind of like
please. I was like, that was what the first thing I was like, hi, is my husband's name.
Yeah. So that made me giggle first.
Not like there ain't a million Jasons on this planet.
Yeah. And then there's also Jason Mankey, the other occultist, you know, writer that's out there. So
who also is also excellent, by the way.
Yes, yes. Sometimes
he just got his book yesterday.
Yeah, I picked up his Raymond Buckland biography.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because
I
I
guess they say never underestimated Jason.
Exactly.
Nope.
And you know, for the longest time until I read Miller, I always confused Miller and Mankey. Like they fused as one person in my mind, and sometimes they were one person, and sometimes they were two independent people, and it was really confusing. But now that I've read them two, I'm like, yeah, Mankey and Miller definitely have two way different writing styles. For sure.
I've only even heard about Mankey today, so
Mankey,
have to look into him after that.
I think Mankey is a little more academic, a little more word heavy, and Miller, I think he's a little more direct, like more simpler language and just very like, this is how it works, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was like my first, just from a writing style perspective. If you like very direct, simple occult books that aren't like super flowery or like really academically intense, this is a good read for you.
Exactly. I also said I had criticisms of one of his books, so I'll elaborate on that quickly. Sorcerer's Secrets is one of his earlier books, and it has a vast amount of very useful information. I also have it on audio. But then there's certain sections of it that I don't necessarily agree with super hard, where it gets into like money magic, and it's like, don't buy coffees. And I'm like, I don't need another guy to tell me that I will have money if I don't buy stuff. Thank you. I know this.
I know.
A little bit, you know. But it's not a bad text, and it is his earlier work, so I will 100% give like the stuff that I don't like on it. It's like I throw it out with the bathwater, like the baby's there. There's no sense to really fret over it. I'm not canceling the guy or anything.
Yeah.
But I just don't necessarily jive with every section of that book.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's okay. In general, like when it comes to this stuff, like it's funny. I was 100%. Just I actually just had to make a small post about this on Tumblr. Like pretty much the only place where I ever feel free and safe to express myself other than on here.
Is Tumblr
but
dead?
No, I actually just got recommended to somebody's Tumblr like literally yesterday. It's not that at all. It's just used more by queers than by other people. Sorry for picking my nose on camera. I'm not just picking. It's just
you're fine.
You know how much gross shit we have captured on this live stream? Like, we have all done something unpleasant, I'm sure.
I mean, my face
I'm
is on
sure
here.
I picked my nose plenty of times.
The amount of times I scratched my nose, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was doing, but it's like
I lost my
inside
one
part
nail. Look at the one nail I lost.
Anyways, let's move. Moving on.
But
No,
oh no, I was sorry.
No, you're fine. I just wanted real quick. I had to try. I was like, as someone who has as the one gift once gifted child that used to read at an advanced reading level, now turned into burnt out adult who cannot and will not finish a book unless it literally draws me in. I finished this book, which is why we're here talking about it, because it's normally Rue who has the problem finishing a book. And like it was, the language was easy to understand, even for someone like me. Like it kept me, I was doing the audio version, but then I also bought the physical version because we love to have reference materials. And the audiobook version, it took me, like, it was only an 8-hour book, and it probably took me about a month to work through. I was listening to it when I didn't have anything else to occupy myself. But I still was able to like absorb all the material and get through it. And I literally, as soon as I finished it, I'm texting Dan, like, Dad, I finished a book. I finished a book. Because like that's such a huge accomplishment nowadays. That was my little statement.
Too. I have a hard time finishing anything.
Real quick, remind me after the podcast to talk to y'all about former gifted child as a prompt. I have some wild shit to tell you to send you down a rabbit hole, but it's not ready for being on the podcast yet. That's like a future later episode we'll talk about. So you're not being left out of anything on the podcast now. So it's just like, please fucking remind me so I don't forget this topic.
Did anybody have any particular sections of the book that they wanted to start with?
So I want to start with the fact that he does a dedication in the book to Hecate, or Hecate, however you prefer to say it. I also do work with her. Other people on the podcast do as well. A lot of witches do. So if you do work with her, it's a great source of information on her. And also, I feel like kind of giving her a nod right now, verbally, like I'm doing before we starting, is a nice little honorific because like the book is itself dedicated to her.
Yes.
I'll do a quick product placement. If you're looking for amulets to work with Hecate, keys are good, and they are in the shop. So there you go.
That was good. That was good, babe.
Yes, but yes, he is a devotee, if you will. I don't know if he would call himself that, but he does work very strongly and has for years with Hecate. Yeah, which is something.
Along with, I'll shift it. I found it was so interesting, his writing style, and like while I was listening to the audiobook, which wasn't voiced by him, but whoever did voice it, let me pull it up real quick. Whoever on Audible, it was voiced by Tom Byer. Was a fantastic voice actor. Did fantastically well with the pronunciations of everything. Along with working with Hecate in the Christian folk section, Saint Cyprian, which I know is that's your lane, Scott. So go ahead.
Your boy Saint Cyprian.
I love that too. I love his nods to folk saint veneration. I thought it was really fascinating learning about Saint Devil. The devil as a saint. I thought that was really fascinating. I've heard of it before. It's not the first time I've come across it, but I feel as if it's funny. When I was younger, there were concepts that I came upon working at the occult shop, working at Harry's, that I think were maybe just a little too that they were in a way too advanced. My young brain just wasn't interested in that yet. And I had a lot of
You were more like, how do I look
You have to
pretty?
learn more.
I want to look more pretty and powerful.
Oh my god, I actually, believe it or not, I wasn't even on that train, like
Oh, you
the
weren't there
glamour
yet?
train. The glamour
Yeah.
train, no, that came later. That came later.
I never got on the glamour train. I just did that shit by by makeup and being like forcibly like sheer force of will from being a slut.
Aggressively feminine.
Well, that helps. It's funny
Feel
because that
that.
does. But anyway,
Anywho,
but no, I really did enjoy him making sure that there's kind of something for everyone in there.
yes.
Uh, if I can, one of the things that I really enjoyed about this book, there is I don't remember the page, but no, I don't want to thumb through this while we're talking. There's a portion in this book about the purification and exorcism of offerings, and I actually I mean, of course, I dedicate my offerings and whatnot, but let me tell you, the exorcism of the offerings and the sort of making them ready to be accepted was an incredible experience. Oftentimes, I find when giving offerings, the energetic expectation that I have to occur sometimes doesn't come the way that I would like it to. But when I did that, it was probably the strongest, or one of the strongest times I've ever felt it. A sort of a instantaneous acknowledgement of acceptance, and definitely the offering acting as it should. You know, being the offering, of course, acts in a couple different ways, right? It's food for the spirits, but it's also
Spirit Feast, page 66.
thank you.
I'm pretty sure that's what you're talking about.
Way to
Probably.
go, Jay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's giving.
Aries power.
It acts also something else that we do that's rarely talked about. Very similar to why we keep water on altars. It allows for the spirit to pass freely from the world of spirit to the world of the material. But also, I feel as if offerings in general do the same thing, not just water. I think that the sustenance given by the virtue of the things given, flowers, incense, whatever, also opens the way, right? It makes it easier for a transition of our spirits, our gods, etc. So I thought that was a really, really fun, and yeah, it was a fun thing to try from the book that really, really was super effective. And I felt it immediately.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it's funny because like there are times where I don't always feel the need to do that. Sometimes it's very simplistic. I do want to do it soon, especially with some of the work that I want to do very soon. I kind of need a little bit of
Help.
backup help. Yeah. Uh,
Falling in the
I also want to
cavalry.
make sure that I'm safe.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as I'm sure we're all aware, we're not the unfortunately, not every occultist and witch and cunning person and root worker, etc., are moral and upstanding people. Some of them are fashed and evil, and they're working against you. So things like this
Un-
are really useful when you are working back against those bitches.
Amen. What? So motivate, I guess. Yeah. That's
All of
right.
it works.
That's right. All of it works. Any and all. Any and all. And it's funny. I do like I still to this day, 8 years in my practice, I have like hesitation about using Christian Catholic terminology and everything like that. And it's like being brought up Catholic and being taught that it's so the two don't mix. And it's funny, we're watching the show, not to get off topic, but we're watching the show that's also from 2003 that's helping out like a whole shit ton. And then like also being part of like
No, drop a
giving a
show
shout out
name.
to
It's
another
so good. It's so relevant to everything we're talking about. It's literally about spirits. Like
Carnival. Yeah, it
Carnival.
really is though.
Which
Carnival.
Oh, Carnival. Oh,
Yeah.
Carnival. Everyone says it's actually really funny that we're talking about this, and let me tell you real quick because it's relevant. Jason Miller has had he loves that show. He's talked about it on
See, I knew it was
Facebook.
relevant.
A lot of occultists love that show. That's
It's
like one of
really
those shows
good.
that's like very
It's
occultist
fantastic.
heavy. Like, you know, it's
Yeah.
like one of those like there's a lot here. Someone on this show knows what the fuck they're talking about.
Correct.
They did
Correct.
their homework
They
on
did
that
their
show.
homework.
Their homework as they're sitting there lighting candles and like my enemies are mean to me.
Oh
Fuck
my
them
God.
up. Blessed be.
Blessed be. But yes, it really does show we're all out here fighting the same fight. And also like being dropping another book, Heathen Traditions of the Pennsylvania Dutch, realizing the crossing between Christianity and all of that. And yeah, exactly. Oh, look at that. We'll be talking about that later. That's a little preview for you guys. This coming up in an episode to be announced. But yeah, like I still struggle to be like amen, like saying like holy things or like because I use Jesus, Mary, and Joseph like it's a fucking curse word every fucking day. Um, and it's like, can I still? And it's like, yeah, because you know it's also hilarious. Carnival bringing it back. They had a whole thing with Dimphna. They had a mental illness. Let me hold on.
Yeah, there was a scene where it's like a mental institution. Someone ends up in a mental institution. It's like Saint Dymphna's home for whatever it was. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, well, that's probably where I would have wound up working if I had stayed on my Catholic path. Because it's just you never.
She's not very
Christians don't
common.
like. She's not common. She's not. She's not. And Christians don't like to acknowledge mental illness. So when they do acknowledge mental illness, oh boy,
I
should like.
actually just to sing her praises real quick because that means she'll like the saints love when you sing their praises. Um, I know what I've said on the podcast before. My ancestors helped me get into therapy. But when an Italian witch says that, or an Italian person coming from a diaspora, for Southern Italians, ancestor veneration is ancestral. Saint veneration is ancestral veneration. It's the same thing. We see the saints as our ancestors. So I actually started praying to Saint Dymphna. I was still pagan at the time, but I was just getting into like learning about like working with the saints and how that felt for me. This is before I did the whole baptism renunciation thing, and finally was like, oh, I've let go all of my my Catholic guilt, and suddenly I can, you know, actually practice the folk magic of my family's right, my family's tradition. But that's actually how she's the spirit that I attribute most to getting into therapy, the Saint
I'm
Dymphna.
not sobbing. I'm really trying hard. I'm not trying not
So
to have a
just a little
whole
thing there.
breakdown
Sorry,
on
sing
live
your
right
praises.
now.
We're not talking about that
Meanwhile, the
exactly.
Christian God's like crying, like, no, you have to go back to church. Like, Rachel.
Like, no.
It's my church right here.
These spirits will just they just want to be acknowledged. Spirits just like to be acknowledged. They want to be appreciated, and a lot of these spirits want to help. Like in particular, I know like the spirits that fill in, like, you know, because you have to remember like it was actually Matthew Venus who was talking about this in he talks about this in sorry this
Just got
book.
every book around you, like
Controlling the
within an
energy.
arm
Stop
reach.
it. It's weird today. I told you I've been doing stuff, okay? I've been doing stuff.
I'm busy.
When I tell you I am like going to battle with these people, I intend to do stuff. Anyway, what you call it? The spirits that have kind of for many of them have kind of stepped in and been like, "Hey, I can do this." You know what I mean? And some of them were people, right? Like there are some, of course, some saints, many saints who were genuinely real people who really did exist. But and for others who there's no historical evidence of their existence, spirits moved in to sort of be like, hey, I could take the place, right? I can mold into this figure and help you. So you could just call me, insert, you know, saint name here, right? Um I mean, you could even look at it in some way similar to, though not the same, similar to Saint Bridget, right? Bridget
Yeah.
is an Irish pagan goddess, right?
Yeah.
But Saint Bridget, her fire has been kept for centuries, and it's a place where pagans and Catholics go pretty regularly, right? And they
Right.
have for a very long time.
Yes.
So, yeah, yeah. So
It's all about that
I see.
intersectionality between
Right.
it doesn't matter if you're following the Abrahamic, which is your Judaism, your Christianity, your Muslim, your whatever, or if you're pagan, or we were talking about like Catholics. Catholics are the majority. They are the majority religion at this point. Christians being the ultra majority of the population, with basically everything else taking its slice of the pie. But we tend to pose ourselves as opposite. But if anything, in recent times, and also watching Carnival and reading this book, we're all fighting the same exact fight. We're all here for the same exact reason. We're all here to do the same thing. We need to ignore the little who gives a shit who worships who at this point. It's
Yeah,
about
I get what
it's
you're
that
saying.
that
Being
those
against
fights.
evil.
At this point, right? I mean, like, it's so funny because I used to feel so funny about that. I don't want to. I'm so sorry. I hope I'm not derailing by my my
We're just branching
my
off the book.
whims.
No.
Okay. No, it's funny because I used to feel so funny about like the word evil, but like now when you're facing evil, it's like, damn,
You know it's
they're
particularly
actually evil.
But you know what really also sucks about evil, especially the sort of evil that we're experiencing? It's like, I hate using the word comically, but it is sort of comically evil. Like if you
yep.
look at, especially
Yeah.
like
Oh,
the
absolutely.
figure of Trump, like
Like
he is
abducting children from base.
comically right. Like it is like we're like 4 steps away from him wearing like the Hamburglar mask. You know what I mean? Like, giggling off to the bank with the sack of money. Like it's literally that comically evil and so obvious, and everyone's like, and shouldn't say everyone. It's the media. The mainstream media is like spinning this like, wow, the
Legacy
president
media.
is doing this. Wow, this is happening. Are you upset by this? Does this upset you? Is this outrageous? And that's all it is. They're not taking like a position on either side. They're just like, are you outraged? Click this article, share, be mad. And
Mhm.
that's all they care about is the views. They don't care if democracy stays or goes. As long as the views
That
remain, that's all
Well,
they
actually, if
fucking
you look,
care
they would
about.
quite. There's a trend to prove that they would prefer that it goes. So, for
Right.
example, talk
Yeah,
about
because that's where
Trump's
the
mental
money
decline,
is.
how that's not really been televised, and
Yeah.
the way that Biden had a fraction of the issues that Trump's had cognitively and physically,
yeah.
and yet how hard they hammered on Biden. Right? You can
Right.
clearly see that
Mhm.
there actually is a bias displayed towards fascism that's evident for anybody who's observing the trend.
There is. There absolutely is. And it's whether it's, more liberal media or not. I will
So
say at my
you have
gym,
the
they have Fox News and CNN on the TVs at like the same time simultaneously, and sometimes I fail to see the difference between the fucking two of them.
I can
Wild.
explain this actually. You have the party of the abuser and the party of the enabler, right?
Yeah.
We know for a fact that the Democrats wouldn't have like pulled this Trump Gestapo shit, right?
Right. Yeah.
But here's the thing that I told my friend in DMs earlier today. Trump and these conservative guys actually fucked up the bag for everybody in the whole modern world, because now we can see on display how evil all of this shit is, right? They've torn the veil down because they were confident they'd won, and they haven't, and they fucked themselves because they did it too early and they're arrogant.
Right, like playing
But
your
you had
cards
left
too
it on the
early.
They played their cards too
neoliberal,
early.
if you had left it on the neoliberal slow march towards death, they 100% would have won. And we would not have been able to stop it because there just would have been too much complacency and it would have consolidated too much power. Are you okay, Scott?
Cleaning my glasses, and when I
Gotcha.
take astigmatism. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure you're okay.
Yeah.
You look like what's going on. But
That's like we're
where
talking
was
about
I?
evil. I'm in physical pain.
That's why the Democrats will seem like they're the better option because technically they are. They're the party of the enabler. And I want everybody to remember that if the Democrats didn't take such milk toast right wing masquerading as left sentiment and stances, the Republican Party would have no air of legitimacy. It's the party of legitimacy for the fascists and fascists. That's why, right? They're both doing the same thing. They're serving the corporate totalitarian agenda. One is just slow creep that's inevitable and unavoidable, and the other one is dumb, power drunk, goose stepping Gestapo. And they opted for the second because they thought they had the consolidation of power in their lap, but they didn't. And they fucked the bag up forever. It's never going back. You can't put this genie back in the pop bottle. American power as we know it is done. You have crumbled internationally and lost on the geopolitical stage. And wildly enough, people are treating fucking Canada like we're the leader of the goddamn free world right now because of the speech Mark Carney gave and standing up and talking about coalition of middle powers and giving people an idea on how to go forward in the world. Sorry to make this all about politics again, right? So just like saying, like,
Well, it's because we had talked about evil, and we are currently
yep.
experiencing, a great
Also,
evil
Mass
happening.
evil.
If I may, I realized exactly what evil is. It's a living being. Okay, so you know how human beings are composed out of like single cellular and multicellular organisms that are highly individuated to like specified roles? Evil is a mimetic concept that exists by the constituents that form it up in the exact same way. It has a nutrient distribution system. It has a biological imperative to spread itself. It has a totalitarian goal, like a virus does, take over stuff. It is a living, conscious, mimetic thing that is perpetrating itself and predate using like us as a source of predation. It's like using us as prey
I
to
wouldn't
spread
doubt
it
that.
as a concept. So that's I like actually came up with a whole theory recently called compartmentalized reality theory if y'all want to get into it. But TLDR, reality is not a hologram, it's compartmentalized. Amoeba is no less real than a human being, even though we live in two realities that are completely different. So therefore, humans don't live in an untrue reality. We live in a portion of the greater reality. And because of our sensory perception capabilities and the limit thereof, that's what stops us from perceiving it. We still exist in it. This is the hologram. It's just our
Right, yeah,
perception
like
that
you're
it's
saying, we
everything
exist in
is a
all of the
hologram.
realms
A very
simultaneously.
grounded view. I love that.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
a good
And just
point.
the same way, let's remember this too. Just the same way, single celled organisms get like used to make bigger organisms, they can be used to kill them. We die to infections all the time. We can absolutely kill these egregores too. It goes both fucking ways.
Dear everybody, spirits can be destroyed, and that's old
Yes.
magic. I know that you were told by
Destroyed or
that
just banished, or
Destroyed.
like
destroyed spirits.
yeah.
There is ancient.
Like
There
fucking
is
annihilated out of this reality, like don't have any causal pathways to manifest. They do not exist. They've been pushed out of every single avenue of manifestation.
Sarah Ann Lawless. She was a really big traditional witch that came up at the same time as Gemma Gary. And Sarah Ann Lawless actually did a wonderful article on this. I might still be able to find it logged, like backlogged kind of situation. I have like some of her articles and stuff. But she discussed how in Scotland, a piece of ritual, a ritual practice that was taken from kind of that fell down. So what ended up happening was we saw it in like the Saxon tribes who got it from the Sami people, and it kind of evolved from there. So from the Sami to the Saxons to the Scottish, there was a device that was kind of used to help with the removal and destruction of spirits from a person or an object. And you saw this in other things where there's older in you see it in Mesopotamian invocations where you threaten a spirit to throw it to be devoured. You also see it in Egypt where you can threaten spirits to be devoured by uh chomp chomp, the one of the, I think, a crocodile god, I think. crocodile-headed
Yeah.
god.
Yeah, the one who's the god of the moon.
You see these things.
You can even see it in South American shamanism. I'm not sure if that's the exact right term, where they would like use a guinea pig as a like a proxy for something, and they would like have the spirit enter the guinea pig and then kill the guinea pig in like a
Exactly.
sacrifice to get rid of the thing. Like
Yeah,
that's a very known practice as well.
it is.
I'm probably misconstruing it, so don't take my word as like.
But I mean, I think but the point is that there is a historical precedent. The belief that lower sort of what I would like to call hell nasties, as I used to call them, you know, I think it would take, you know, I think the rules kind of change a bit when we're talking about like, if we're talking about like, I don't know, like Belial or you know, sort of what you could consider some kind of
Night
higher
or
standing, you know,
big
or
boys.
like, you know,
the big
high
boys.
standing infernal, earthly, or chthonic spirit or god of some kind. You know what I mean? But like even with classic demonolatry, uh, you know, oftentimes like we know in the Catholic tradition, when someone is possessed, the spirit that's named, it's not the spirit themselves, it's legion, right? Um, you use because the legion is a nameless sort of entity, right? So it uses the name of the marquis, the duke, the king, whatever that it is under, and it uses their name because it has no identity of its own. And those are the spirits that we tend to have to duke it out with. And or spirits like that. I don't want to try to apply one cultural lens to
Yeah.
a rich
Legion is
nuance.
straight up ancient fucking biblical Jesus dueling with that bitch in the desert.
Correct.
So, but yeah, I think you get the idea. But anyway, spirits can be destroyed. Although I don't know. I actually don't remember if Jason even talks about something like that. But I mean, I'm sure he would. I'm sure he's aware of historical
I'm
context.
certain he's aware of it, but I also don't think he wants to lay it out or bring it to average people's attention. I'm okay
Yeah,
talking about it
Correct.
with our podcast, but I would also feel that knowledge would be irresponsible to just dispense to the general public.
I'll be real with
I would
you. I
never do
wouldn't
that.
know. I don't even know how to do it. It's not
I
something
don't know
that
how
I.
to do it either. So let's be clear. Actually, I do know how to destroy a couple things, but there's specific monsters that relate to folklore in areas that I live in, and I've actually used the forces of nature to destroy something that was malignant and turning into one of these things before. So like I know for a fact it can be done, but just beware. The fallout literally destroyed my hometown and like flooded dozens of people out of their houses and caused a great ecological disaster that took like millions and millions and millions of dollars to fix.
It's like sometimes you have to like incorporate a little bit of a Marvel
Sometimes
Avengers
you have
logic, right? Like even though you're fighting to save, you're fighting the bad guys, you're still destroying the city at the same time. So like you have to be
I
Stop
hate that
careful.
destroying the city.
I hate that I did that though. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. It was a good thing in the end. A lot of the people who were in the in my small town, the district that got destroyed was a slum. A lot of people had purchased it were in debt traps where they couldn't get out and they were stuck there. So I know a lot of families who got their insurance payouts and got to go live in better houses, in better neighborhoods, in areas they weren't trapped. So it was overall a better thing, and the area got reverted to like wetland, and it was a better outcome for everybody. But it was
Yeah.
a tragic amount of destruction at the same time, and it could have been fatal. So don't fuck around too hard on destroying spirits unless you really know what you're doing. That's why I'm saying, like, I wouldn't even put that fucking topic in a book, you
I
know?
also don't
I
think
think
it's
Yeah.
always. I really don't think it's rarely necessary. I mean, it's easier just
Correct.
to throw it back
Banish.
to whence it came,
Yep.
and it'll have a hard time coming back. Versus, and you could pretty much at that point, if you can banish it, you could be like never come back, and guess what? It will
If
never
it's
do.
so bad that you need to
It will
destroy
never
it, it's usually a black and white case. Let me put it like that. There's no room for interpretation or
interpretation.
extrapolation. You know the thing needs to go, and there's no other fucking option. It's the nuclear option. It's black and white when that happens. Which
Yeah.
also, I think, is what we're going through in the use case with evil. Here's that's hot.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think we are
careful.
kind of getting to those points. We do have a couple minutes. I did want to talk about another main element of this book, and that is Saint Cyprian. We talked about him real briefly, but Scott, I know that you actually do have a working relationship with Saint Cyprian. I have
do.
witnessed you working with Saint Cyprian.
You have? I forgot about
I have. I think the best synchronicity was when you needed to do that working, and you were like, "I need 13 pennies," or was it 9 pennies? 9 pennies.
Oh,
Nine.
You needed
right.
9 pennies because you needed to say the prayer 9 times, and you were using the pennies as a counter. And I had exactly 9 pennies that I had in I call it my witch bag. You know, it was just a bag
Yeah.
that I just bring to witchy things. And it was a bag that I usually bring to a cemetery, usually.
That's so
Yeah.
weird.
So yeah, it was the 9
I
pennies.
love that 9 is one of those like secret numbers actually associated with Hecate because her number is 3 and 3 offerings of 3 equates to 9.
Oh, I never really.
Correct.
Oh.
Of
Sonic
course.
was interesting.
Yeah.
Sonic
If I was
spirits.
able to give a full
For
like
free.
I'm not afraid of anything offering when I'm doing like Hecate stuff, I would give
It's always
3
9.
offerings at separate 3-way crossroads, and each of them would have 3 eggs, 3 pieces of bread, honey, and 3 pieces of fish. I forget what the other ones were, but that's most of it anyways.
There you go.
I feel like cosmically, like Vudan and Hecate could like throw down some beers and really talk about some shit, you know, like.
Oh, hell yeah.
I have a
You know.
story for y'all that I have to tell after the camera's off. Don't leave. This is actually fucking buck wild.
But yes.
TLDR, I became a local cryptid and haunted some cops accidentally.
Oh, that's what's
Whoa.
up. But yeah,
Yeah.
Scott, Saint Cyprian, tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about your experience.
With Saint Cyprian, Cyprian is very much like my interactions with him are very much like a very like Yen Sid from Disney. I think I can use that here.
Yes.
He's not warm particularly. He's not mean, but he's not really one to coddle. You know, he's very meticulous, and he expects things done in a way that makes sense. I don't want to say in a particular way, but he's not for like whimsy. He's not like
Not for the
it's
faint
like,
of heart is what I heard.
he there are particular things that he particular traditions that embrace him in different ways. There's the Black Book tradition of Iceland and the surrounding area where he's definitely a little bit more spooky. There's sort of the American tradition where we've really leaned heavy into like the patron saint of witches, magicians, and necromancy, right? I really like his story. In the what is it called? Oh, Jason, it actually might be in here.
I think he does give like a Spark
Jason,
Notes version of the story in there.
But particularly not just the story, it's actually not the story that I wanted to mention, although the story is interesting about like using magic on trying to cast a love spell on a Christian woman and it failed and all that stuff, right? But it isn't a fun story. But particularly what I like is Jason's prayer to him, where it talks about, you know, you learned necromancy in
yeah, bookmarked
I really wish
page 78.
Look at you.
You're all together.
Shit.
He's on top of his shit.
The advantage of paper books. I can't bookmark for shit on audiobooks. So.
Exactly. I'm audiobook only down here.
It's okay.
Jay's over here like, watch my executive function. Oh, and he's like powering up like fucking Goku.
Well, I medicated myself for my anxiety, so I'm gonna attribute some of that to that. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. It's my medicated hubby, finally.
Yeah, he like in the invocation it talks about, you learned witchcraft in the cemeteries of Sparta or whatever. I don't remember it verbatim, but he talks about like where he the different places he learned to control storms and make charms, all throughout
You learn to control storms on
Spartans
Mount
from.
Olympus.
That's it. Where are
Casting
you
of
at? I
enchantment
can't
and
find it.
illusion in Argos, page 78.
Ghost.
Unless
78.
you have a
Where am I?
different edition. Oh.
No,
No, I
that
don't.
ain't it.
Jay,
Yeah,
you would make a fantastic librarian.
I
there it
would.
is. Yep.
I would love to be a
Oh, holy
librarian.
city.
I was not
You
very.
you said you could absolutely pull that role at like the Betwixt the Cult Supply coffee
Lovely.
shop, or
It
also like
is
the librarian
my
slash reference.
It is my plan to actually have a library of some sort. It will have to
And a
be
cult
like
library would be good.
yeah, it'll have to be like a paid donate kind of thing. Obviously, it cannot be a free library. It would have to be,
Yeah.
kind of like community funded.
Well, unless
Um,
people donated the books for free, but
well,
who
I would
knows?
probably just use my own collection probably to start. But anyway, sorry, Scott.
Yeah.
You were saying.
No, it's okay. No, I just I love
Did you
learning
find it?
because oh yeah, I found it. I found it.
Okay.
Yeah, on Mount Enchantment and Illusion in Argos, the mysteries of the witch's craft in Tauropolis, necromancy amongst the graves of Sparta, and incantations in Memphis. Finally in Antioch, drawn by power you found the grace of Christ. O holy Cyprian, you who equally partakes of the Mass and the Sabbath, bless my efforts to follow you in your path. You who commingled with angels, devils, and earthly spirits, grant the power to command the spirits as you did, and as Solomon and Manassas did before you. It's a wonderful prayer. It's what I say
Yeah.
whenever his feast, whenever his novena comes up. Um, the first time I ever did this, I recited it 9 times for 9 nights, which was a lot. And I probably should do again. I did not do that this time. I did it once for 9 nights. Um, but yeah, he's definitely not he's definitely like an old wizard. You know what I mean? It's what it feels
Mm.
like.
Mm-hmm.
He's not cruel. It's not a cruelty. He's not cold. Like it's just kind of like
Do you want to learn or
come
not?
on, get it together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like all right, we went through this, so tell me, like on a test. You know what I mean? It's like we've been through this. What is this? You know what I mean? He's
A good teacher.
meticulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Mm-hmm.
very much the teacher, not the father, not the nurturer. He's the teacher, and that's the role he takes. It
So
is
I wanted to
incredibly
ask
potent.
you,
Mhm.
so it's kind of interesting. So his SparkNotes story of him is like he was pagan and then he converted to Christianity or the magic of the Christ current, I guess you could say. That was
That's the magicians. That's the occultist witches
the
take,
occult
right?
theory. Yeah.
In the Catholic, like in the Catholic tradition, as is Catholicism,
You saw
they
the
believe
power of God.
he was pagan and he worked a love spell when
Hmm.
he met Saint Justina,
Right.
and it did not work because of her faith in God, and he converted, because he was a master magician,
Right.
right?
Okay,
It
because
was
her
like I
faith in
knew this spell would
God
work. I know, you
blocked his
know,
spell, so he was like, "Oh shit, that's some." So
right.
the
And our
the
and,
way
and
the
and our
Catholics view it,
understanding,
yeah, I see
right.
what you mean. There's two
But
ways to
our
view the story.
understanding is like, so you do have power, you just have to know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
So we're like, well, that's another source of magic that I want to have. And that's a very that's a very our take, right? We see religion as a system, as meticulously designed in a particular way to affect particular things, right?
Mm.
In a particular way. So it's we're like, well, I want that. You know what I mean? I want whatever that is too. Because the more things you have, and the better. I don't want to say that either, but
Well, really,
it does make things easier when you know
my
how
main
to.
question was this.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
I've really been considering working more with Saint Cyprian, especially one after witnessing you doing the working that you did, and then reading the book, and kind of reading this book and kind of learning more about him. Because I also think with my Brauerei stuff, I need a bridge. between the Christian part of it and the pagan part of it. You know what I mean? I need a bridge, and I think he would be a very good bridge for that kind of thing.
Yes.
But I have
That's bridge.
but I have unbaptized myself, and so I find it interesting. Like, so would it be harder to work with him in that way, or should like a rebaptism
No.
happen in some way?
I'm going to tell you something about unbaptizing yourself. Now, is it a traditional craft thing? Yes. Is it a folk witch thing particularly? Absolutely.
For me, it was
But
important
what it
because it was an
is
oath I
over.
didn't consent to.
It is over 50% emotional, like psycho-emotional.
Right.
What it is essentially to sever. See, here's the thing, and this I think we can all agree that all like oath taking and initiations, especially potent ones like that, where you're a child and you go through multi stages of an initiation over years, you can't get rid of that. You'll never wash it away. Never. There's no magic, no power, no God on earth, regardless, pagan or otherwise, it's going to wash it away. What the unbaptism did for me was simply reframe what it means for me to be Catholic or to have been baptized Catholic. It was like, okay, I am sort of freed of the shackles that are imposed upon you through the dogma of the church, right? I no longer have the pressures of the church. Unfortunately I went to a funeral not too long ago at this beautiful church not too far, and I still felt the connection of the place. I believe in the mysticism of the church. I believe in its metaphysical potency, but I disagree with its dogmatic and state religion nonsense. Right? That's the stuff I don't agree with. I don't agree with the brutality that it got, that essentially how it grew to the power that it is. I don't agree with that. But when it comes to the mysticism and the magic, that stuff is actually at the heart of it. That's what the early, like before this whole thing about like the burning times and all this stuff, like what we have to understand is that's not how it worked. Right? Like ancient pagans and ancient Christians lived side by side for a long time. Like in Rome specifically, I'm talking specifically about Rome because that's the only that's what I've learned, right? In class, in school, like CCP school. They lived side by side for years and it was never a problem. Like and it was, I mean, sure, they didn't agree and they, everyone thought everyone was like different, but it didn't affect social order. To the ancient world, everything was about social order. Particularly in Europe. I'm only talking about Europe because that's what I know. Europe was obsessed with social order, but they had to be because they were young, right? We were a young species overall, right? And they wanted things to go in a certain way. That's why like the early Celtic tribes and the Britain those tribes, like they didn't give a damn about sexuality. You could do whatever the hell you wanted, generally with whoever, as long as it didn't disturb social order. Now that's how they understood sexuality. They didn't have, queer theory, thousands of years ago. And I think that that's how it worked with sharing space with other religious traditions. It wasn't till later, as things progressed and the church began to sort of be like, oh, well, we can have a political power, right? Rome was falling. The Pope is just the Roman emperor, right? It was the position because Rome fell, and they were like, shit, we need our power somehow. So they created the Pope.
Holy Roman Catholic.
Right. That's why the Pope was created. Originally, the early Catholic Church was just archbishops, bishops, and priests and nuns.
If it wasn't so evil, it'd almost be sexy with like all the nuns and the punishing
Right.
and the reading. Like, I'm gonna be real. A lot of our modern sense of kink actually comes from like Judeo-Christian puritanical punishment and obedience values.
Which
So
is also in
it's
Carnival.
a deeply woven thread into our society.
Yeah,
it
really is.
Yeah, it was
Make me harder, Daddy. I wanna be redeemed.
the aesthetic.
Man, I feel like that's a whole episode in and of itself.
God's like, nah, I ain't fucking touching that.
But
I'm gonna postulate.
so
I'm
no.
ex-Catholic. I don't mind being irreverent, blasphemous.
Irreverence is kind of what we do here. It's kind of our brand.
Reverence is my middle name. What?
Despite me wearing crosses ironically, because I love wearing a trashy cross ironically.
That's another thing that not to make it serious, but that's
Hmm.
another thing that I think my renouncing my baptism did for me as well.
Mm.
It's this
Mhm.
ridiculous idea of what it means to like be irreverent. Like when you like I've been praying at my ancestral altar, right? Just finished praying to the Madonna, and Darian will come up behind me and he'll like put his head on my shoulder and like I'll kiss him, and like there's the like the house doesn't fall down. There's no like
There's no
they don't
hellfire
care about stuff like that. They literally don't give a fuck. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Like a tornado
Like
comes down and
yeah, like it just doesn't happen
Well,
because they don't care.
don't worship Zeus. Maybe Zeus gives a fuck because he's canonically a prick. But
canonically a prick. I want that on a t-shirt. Canonically a prick.
Seriously
Jeez.
though.
But
We
Oh
are.
my
yeah, no,
God.
it's
Mm.
I'm sorry, Jay.
on.
No, it's fine.
Oh, I was just
waiting
saying
for
no,
you
but
to
Saint Cyprian is definitely an amazing bridge if you have a hard time finding a way to essentially make your early Christian magic pagan, which it was. I mean, inherently, it you know, obviously you can't take the Christian parts out because it is, you know, it was theirs in that regard. But they were animist at one time. Catholics still maintained their animism. And it was a different world. They still believed in the earthly spirits, you know, like it was very different than what we think it was, than what we were told. It wasn't just instantaneous bloodshed. It wasn't just like, oh well, these two groups met and they, you know, killed the other. It's not
They
what
murdered
happened.
the shit out of each other.
There was death and there
Oh, yeah,
was
there
murder
was.
and war, but
Yeah, at
it
some point.
happened
Gradually.
many
People want
years.
to over focus on that for the sake of like a narrative. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? To whatever ends that narrative might suit.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I mean, I'm sure that there's a horrible way of sort of framing it to where, you know, the pagan savages, you know what I mean, their, you know, silliness, right? But it's not how it was. And there's a lot of logic in paganism and animism, and I think that yeah, I think that he's a great for you, Jay. I think he would be a great way for you to embrace a lot of the other magic that you've been interested in as well. So that way you can kind of, you know, you could still have Urglava as
Right.
your, you know, but Cyprian will also allow for you to understand how your other magical pursuits and maybe the other spirits of those magical traditions relate to you in a
Yeah.
way. They're not going to relate to this, but relate to you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, yeah, it does.
And I think he'll be able to help you with that in a sort of a roundabout kind of way.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
want to
definitely.
go off just a little bit and say, oh no, sorry, I didn't know you had something to respond with. Please go ahead.
No, go ahead, Sophia.
It's a complete diversion, so please, if you have a thought.
No, my thoughts are just focused on wrapping up here. We're at a minute 17 so far.
I'll be relatively quick.
We're 17.
Yeah, minute 17. Well, hour
Wow,
17.
where was I going to go with that? I was
said
going to
minute.
talk about Akate, but I can't remember exactly for what reason. I totally got distracted when I started thinking the time and stuff. Oh right, that's the reason I also really like working with Akate, because some spirits or gods or goddesses that you work with might want like something akin to total devotion, where like not paying about that. You're not going to catch the goddess of witchcraft being like, "Hey, do less magic because I want you to only work with me." Like that's silly,
Well,
right?
yeah, no.
Yeah.
Hell to the no.
Even the concept of that sounds laughable. So like, just remember, if you're ever hesitant about working with spirits, not all of them require devotion. Not all of them even want devotion. You know, you don't necessarily have to come with this baggage of expectation that you've gotten from like books or media. Like, just to echo something that he said in the book, because like I feel like I talked very little about the book this episode. a lot of our opinions and ideas of the occult is typically formed through media and horror specifically at that. I don't watch a lot of horror, and the media I do watch is usually like thought-provoking experiments or stuff that make you consider things like corporations being eldritch entities, which Severance does nicely. And like, I would actually love to do an episode about Severance and an episode about Pluribus if you guys are up for it. Those are great shows that are very much occult relevant that we can discuss because they bring around for thought experiments. But back to the book. Um, it is a really good book. It's a masterpiece, in my opinion. Basically, everybody should have a copy of Consorting with Spirits. It's one of the few books I'm actually going to buy twice, and have a physical copy of it and have an audiobook copy of it. Jason Miller's a great author. I would actually even go as far as to suggest that we do Protection Magic. I'm not sure the full title of that one, but do his Protection Magic
Reversal, I
book
think.
as the next one. I would love to do something along those lines. It's very hands-on practical, and it gives us a lot more like direct conversation, right? The other thing I wanted to echo is, again, spirits are like people, right? You have literal fucking Gestapo who will hold your children hostage, and you have people who will literally give their lives trying to save injured veterans and die trying to pick somebody up who had been pepper sprayed in -20 weather to make sure that she's okay because he's a conscientious observer. You have literally every degree between these two within that entire spectrum. Don't just assume it's going to be one way or another, because it's not. You really have to like take the current present thing you're working with for what it is and where they're at and where you're at. And that's the most important thing about working with spirits. I want to drive home from the book is they're like fucking people. Okay.
They are people.
You don't threaten every person you meet. There are certain people you meet you immediately threaten, like that.
Yep.
If a pedophile walks in your house, a registered pedophile, and you have a kid, the reasonable response is to pull a gun out. Right?
Yeah.
This to kind of wrap up my thoughts too, which it goes exactly with you, Sophia. He talks a lot in here about to command and compel or not, right? To like why it is sometimes it is necessary to say, Spirit, I abjure you, to appear now before me, bound to this circle, sometimes that's necessary.
Yeah.
Sometimes and sometimes he talks about how some spirits respect that more. Some spirits won't respond unless you are very sort of, this is my house, you know what I mean? And I think that that's important. I do see I used to also be one of those shitheads who used to be like, the ceremonial grimoire tradition is too aggressive with spirits. But what I've learned over time is that even there's a reason why even in the animist tradition we have fail saves for such things, right? We can uh, do what we have to do to an Aranist spirit, but I understand more now, even from reading this book, even though I kind of felt like I was already in a place where I was, understanding, but Jason definitely helped me really understand the who, what, when, where, and why of are we just, giving offering and being like, hey, I'm giving you space, let's talk about this, let's open up a dialogue kind of situation, versus this sort of, I bind you, spirit, I bind you and I give you charge to bring to me $100 before next Wednesday. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
God's a wish.
So I think he's really good at teaching us why it is that these different modalities are kind of all important. We really have to understand all these approaches to be proper practitioners of these magic systems that we're practicing. Then it's, of course, I also want to be fair and say that, like, I may not necessarily be talking to the ATRs. You guys have your own way, like, living traditions that, are your own thing. So I'm not necessarily talking to like Espiritismo or Vodou or Vodun or Santeria or Palo Mayombe, you know, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, you
Candomblé,
know,
Lakumi. But for those of us practicing Western, European, Mediterranean, chaos magic, etc., those of us doing those kind of more Western types magic, this is useful for us. This brings us back to our animist roots and how we, you know, and it's important that we, you know, it's important that we re-acknowledge where we come from, so that way we can kind of reintegrate in a helpful and decolonized way.
very well said, Scott. And I will try to summarize my final thoughts in as succinctly and beautiful pattern as that. Oh my God, see, I can't talk as good as you guys. But no, seriously, the book, as I said, the fact that I finished it in the first place, he makes it very. It is one of those books that it's like it's not for the beginner. It's for that like somewhat like exactly that moderate magical
Intermediate.
practitioner, intermediate, exactly. And it was funny while I was reading through this book, and I still struggle to this day with. Am I still just a baby witch? Am I still in the same place I was 8 years ago? And no, because I consumed this book and I understood the book, and I even had sections of the book where I was like, I knew that. I knew that. And I know that just because even before I was a magical practitioner, um, interacting with spirits was something I was doing at 6 years old. I just didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And this book has not only helped me identify like just everything in my spirit, my personal spirit work, it has amplified like a million. And the next time I hope I get to interact with Jason and bring him my copy and just like get to talk to him, and it's so amazing. Like it really has helped me upgrade my magical skills. So kudos.
I do want to interject very quickly. I do think that we will look back on Jason Miller's writing as one of the greats, for real. And I'm not saying that
For
that's
sure.
high up. I don't know him personally. I don't have any like vested social interest. He's not affiliated with the podcast. I'm not getting clout for saying this. I still would stand by that statement. He will.
Yeah.
This book and his works will probably be remembered as one of the greats, because like if you put him side by side with Crowley, sure, Crowley can give you some like obscure mystical bullshit knowledge if you're really fucking educated. But if you are even remotely skilled and you're like wanting to advance your craft, you will get more out of reading Miller than you will out of Crowley, and it's a fact.
Yep.
Exactly.
I agree.
100.
Actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Alrighty.
Yep.
So, with that, I think do I have any other announcements? Kofi, you can support us on Kofi right now. If you would like to give us any financial kind of support, we also have just like a PayPal that you can just send like money to if you so desire. If you don't want to,
Got merch, people. You want cool coffee mugs? You want a beanie? You want to try to talk through the hit? You want cool Widgets Betwixt merch? We sell that stuff too. You don't just have to give us money for free. You could buy merch. You could buy our stuff. And don't forget Free Palestine.
Free
Free
Palestine.
Palestine. Fuck ICE.
Palestine, fuck
And the
Ice.
Congo, and free the
And
Congo,
and
and
Congo.
Sudan, and Iran, and
Iran. Yep.
there's so many places that are undergoing genocide right now that also need attention. It's not just, the meltdown of the Western world that needs attention, because the rest of the world is fucking underwater too right now. So
Yeah.
much love to everybody resisting authoritarian and fascist rule everywhere. Our struggle is all one struggle, and none of us are liberated.
Free
Every
until
single
we are
fucking
all
person on this
fucking
planet is
free.
free. Bet your ass.
And that's on
And if you,
333. So
everyone,
mote it be.
regardless of the color of your fucking, the location that you live in, you deserve freedom. It is irrelevant to any circumstance of your birth or your position. You deserve the same. Fuck authority.
Hmm.
Bitch
Alright.
out.
Until next time.
We will see